Hi there, everybody. My name is Molly Barker, and I am the founder of Girls on the Run. And I would just like to start off by thanking each of you for being here today. If it were not for you, there would be no Girls on the Run program. This would simply be a book on a shelf somewhere collecting dust. And so I just want to thank you. And I'm also really excited for you because you are about to embark on a journey that is not only going to change your life, but the lives of all the girls in the program. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me tell you the Girls on the Run story and why I started this program, because I think it will really help you understand the spirit behind this program. So in 1971, I was 11 years old, and I was leaving the comfort of a school I had known for 5 years, and I was moved to another school, which was a private school here in Charlotte where everything was a little bit different. The cars were different, the way people dressed were different, and there was this immediate feeling upon walking on that campus that I didn't quite fit in. And I've learned now that most of us around this age of 5th or 6th grade oftentimes feel like we don't fit in, but it just seemed to be exaggerated with this new school. And so I was one of 3 new girls at this school, and I felt almost invisible, like I was just an unknown, and I really didn't feel warmly welcome there. So about 3 weeks into the school year, our PE teacher announces that we're going to have to run the mile for PE. Now, for you guys that know me, know that I've been a tomboy my entire life, and this was going to be the moment that Molly was going to shine. It was like I was going to no longer be the invisible girl, but was going to be the girl that just could run like the wind and have an identity at this new school. So I show up 3 weeks later, dressed out in my PE attire, which at the time in the early 70s, I got to give you a description of it. I wore something called the greenie. And the greenie was like this one-piece prison suit that basically had snaps that went up the front. It had no sleeves, and the shorts were about down to your knees. And of course, we tried to sassify it a little bit by rolling the shorts up and kind of making sure that our sleeves were off the side. So I show up, I got on my tube socks and my tree-torn tennis shoes, and Ms. Miller yells, "Go!" And I take off running, and I start passing all the girls, and we're on this dirt track outside of the school, and I'm passing all the girls, and then suddenly I begin to pass quite a few of the boys, and I'm just in that zone, that space where I just was totally happy and, the free-spirited little 6th grader that I was, when I stepped in a hole, and I twisted my ankle, and I could no longer run. So I came back to Ms. Miller. I'm sure I was dragging my foot in some very dramatic fashion. And I walked up to her and I said, Ms. Miller, I can't go on anymore. And Ms. Miller used this tone of voice with me that we try so hard, or we don't use at Girls on the Run, this tone of voice. And she said, "Molly, why don't you just sit here while all the other girls finish?" And I can remember sitting at her feet and looking up to this woman that had the potential to be an incredible role model for me at that time. And I just felt diminished and small, and as if I'd made a poor decision, which in reality I'd made a very good decision for myself. So 2 weeks later, we got a report card. And on this report card were all these amazing remarks about what a fabulous addition I was to this new school. They were excited about the leadership potential and the little spark that made me me. And on Ms. Miller's report card, she wrote, "Molly is somewhat of a defeatist." And I can even still see the report card. I can even see the quotations around the word and the word underlined. And I went back to my mom with that report card and I said, "Now what's this? What's a defeatist?" And my mom said, "Well, it's not what you are, but a defeatist is somebody who gives up easily and doesn't try their best." And now I'd never thought of myself in those terms. I'd always thought I was actually a pretty cool, a remarkable person, as do most 4th and 5th graders. But at that point, I stepped into this space at Girls on the Run we call the Girl Box. And this Girl Box is this place where formerly vibrant young girls just like me. If I were with you, one of you would be handing me a Kleenex right now. It's this place that formerly vibrant girls go about the age of 5th or 6th grade, where we begin to morph into what we think we should be instead of who we really are. And where these messages come from are a variety of places. It could be the media, or it could be our families. But for whatever reason, many, many, many girls go there, and they go there in droves. And I went there. In this Girl Box, there's a set script. There's a set way to be, and it's always a script that somehow tells us we're not good enough. And back in the 70s, the script for me was things like, you're not pretty enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not thin enough, or you have to have a boyfriend. And I know too that girl box crosses all generations. So an 80-year-old friend will have her experience with the box just as does my 10-year-old daughter. And so I stepped into the box, and it wasn't a comfortable place for me, but I tried so hard to fit in. So about the age of 15, my mom, on the exodus from her girl box, began to run. And now let me paint a portrait of this woman for you. She was a good, gracious Southern woman, and she would head out the door at 5 in the morning so no one in the neighborhood would see her. And she would come back a good 45 minutes later and just be a transformed and very different woman. And on one of those mornings she said, "Molly, would you like to go with me?" And I said, "Yeah, I would." And so the two of us would set out before sunrise, just me and my mom. And there I was, age 15, at that critical age when your body's beginning to change and you're just trying to figure things out. And it would be right before sunrise, and the two of us and our steps would be in sync, and our breathing would be in sync, and we wouldn't need to utter a single word between the two of us. And I would come back and I would feel so alive and full and content. And I learned at that early age that that's what running does for me. It isn't really about the cardiovascular functioning or the improved outcome in terms of weight or the way our bodies look. It has to do with empowering ourselves and feeling comfortable in our skin and owning that hour and being responsible for my own breathing, my steps, and everything along that run. So the other thing that happened at the age of 15, I come from a long lineage of great athletes and really good drinkers. So at the age of 15, the same time that I discovered running, I took my first drink at a friend's house. And I can remember the power and the sort of persuasive nature of that alcohol. And later on that evening, we called this guy from another school named Robbie. And I told Robbie I loved him. And now Robbie had never met me before, but I can guarantee after that phone conversation, Robbie and a good number of his friends knew who I was. And so there was something very, very seductive about the alcohol. It was very immediate, the gratification and the power of the girl box. And suddenly I could conform to everything the girl box told me to be. And so these two lives both began to generate some momentum. I became very involved in athletics and started to compete in Ironman triathlons. And then this darker demon, this alcoholism, began to really take root as well. And so one of those is going to win out. And in this case, it was the alcohol. So fast forward to 1993. I've just completed an Ironman a couple years before. If you'd looked at me, you might have thought I'd had it together. But on July 6, 1993, I hit what's called bottom. And I was so dark and deep and lost inside that girl box, I could see no way out. And so I called my sister Emily. And I asked Emily for some advice. Actually, I just said, I need help. And my sister, Emily, gave me a response that I still use today. But basically what she said was just sleep on it and see how you feel in the morning. And so I took her advice, and I remember hanging up that phone and sort of crumbling over on the couch where I was and just wishing for sleep. And so the next day was July 7th, 1993, and I sort of puttered around in my pajamas all day, and about 4 o'clock I decided to go on a run. And I can remember very vividly pulling on those running clothes. And it had been weeks since I'd run, and considering whether I really wanted to do that. There was this thunderstorm brewing out on the horizon, this big dramatic thunderstorm brewing. And I can remember standing at the top of those stairs, decked out and ready to run, and thinking, oh, it's not safe, you shouldn't go. And as I tell this story, I'm so thankful to you for being there and allowing me to share it, because it always brings me back to the critical moment right before I set out, when all the noise of the should and ought to people and all that deafening sound from the girl box had been screaming for years, you're not enough, you're not good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, and all of those became very silent, and this one little voice, that little voice that I had bid farewell to in 5th grade, that one voice said, run, just run. And so I set out down those steps, and I started on this 6-mile run. And about mile 5 of this run, something very dramatic began to happen. I became very conscious of the way the leaves were flipped upside down on the trees and the way the wind was blowing around me and the thunder off on the horizon and the lightning and the big black clouds. And there was this moment where I just accelerated to a speed like I had never known. And from one step to the next, I had this epiphany. And at that moment, it was so brief, I just had this revelation that I am brilliant and perfect and amazing just the way that I am. And I remember walking home after having touched that and realized that I can't go back now. Now that I've experienced that and was aware of it, I had to do something powerful with it. And so I believe that's when Girls on the Run was born. It was this moment where I had felt so less than and suddenly felt full and content. And I knew that existed. So I walked home in tears most of the way, and I realized at that point that I would need to do something. So the next 3 years were building this program, and I did as much research as I could, and I was digging through old textbooks, just pulling whatever I could to look at resiliency in kids, particularly girls, and figure out what are the tools they need so that when these challenges and these pressures come at them in middle school, they'll have the tools, the strength, and the confidence to stand true to themselves and not be swayed by all of that pressure.
These girls are going to love you, period. I mean, they're just going to look up to you, they're going to think you're awesome and great, and the only thing they need from you is your encouragement.
You don't have to be a runner to be a coach. You don't have to be a mom to be a coach. You just have to be someone who's willing to spend a couple hours each week with an enthusiastic, excited group of girls who will adore, just about anything you do, no matter how goofy or silly. Even if you don't do the lesson perfectly, they really don't mind. They just want to spend time with someone who cares.
And that's what your job is to do, is to really encourage and motivate them, not just to run a 5K, but to be incredible life examples for their friends, for their peers, and they are.
Back when I started Girls on the Run, I can remember sending letters home to all of the families of the girls that were in the program. And at the very end of each letter, I thanked them for allowing their girls to be a part of my life. And that is something I just want to remind you of, that it is very important that we all realize that these families and these caregivers of these young ladies are allowing their children to spend time with us, and the incredible responsibility that we have not only as facilitators of this program, but as role models and leaders for these young women, and that we, for that hour and a half, are their mentor, and we should give our undivided attention to them. Safety, security, not only of their physical being, but of their emotional beings as well.
Anyone can be a coach for Girls on the Run because the program is so awesome. You have notebooks to go by, you have incredible curriculum, everything is organized for you. You get all of the supplies that you need to use in Girls on the Run. As long as you're energetic, enthusiastic, and you believe in this program and really wanting to be with these girls and show them how to live healthy, you're going to do great. It's an awesome program. You don't even have to be a runner to be a coach.
So you are now about to embark on a journey as a Girls on the Run or Girls on Track coach for the next 10 to 12 weeks. And I am here to tell you, as the first Girls on the Run coach, that there are going to be many moments where you're going to wonder if you're actually having an impact on the kids. But I promise you are. You're going to also, at times, particularly the first 1, 2, or 3 sessions, be quite nervous. And I do want you to know that if you've never worked with this age group, the curriculum is there to support you. There is not going to be a moment where you will not have in front of you the words, the advice, the help that you need to deliver a really effective Girls on the Run program. So you have it. I know you have it, or you would not have been attracted to this program. The other thing that I want you to know about this age group is they like you. They like you the moment you step to the plate. So if you are at all concerned about being admired or liked, you're going to have for 10 to 12 weeks a group of girls that are going to look up to you every minute. And now with that comes a great deal of responsibility, but at the same time it's a total win-win. The girls are going to get something out of this just as you are.
You have a notebook that has the curriculum laid out step by step, every single lesson, every single thing you need to do. You have a big box that's filled with all the supplies that you'll ever need to coach. So you're given everything you need. And it's easy because it's so much fun and it's so rewarding. You can't wait to be there the next time.
So you're going to have 15 girls to meet with for 10 to 12 weeks, and that means 15 amazing, full of life, vibrant little people to spend time with. Now generally, every girl is going to come in with her own unique set of spirit and challenges, but there's also some general characteristics that research has shown girls in this age group tend to bring to the table, and I'd like to go over some of those. The first is they're very talkative. These girls love to share stories and talk about themselves, so generally you're going to have to think about how to keep them on task. The second thing is you're going to have varying reading levels. So I just want you to be aware of that should one of your girls be uncomfortable or not able to read, you might want to partner her with another girl that can help her out some. The third is this group is incredibly affectionate, and they will want to like braid your hair or hold your hand or sit in your lap. And all of those things are wonderful, but they really can distract from the task at hand. So I just encourage you to let them know that they can sit next to you or sit next to a friend, but that this sort of activity might distract from the lesson. The other thing that this group is, and you will notice this right off the bat, is they can be very cliquish. So they may come in with a set of friends already and try to sit with or do the activities with them, and I'm happy to let you know that the curriculum is written in a way so that those cliques are pretty much eliminated from the get-go. So one of the main things that you've got to do in drawing the kids together is always seat them in a circle right off the bat and establish some structure to your lesson. And there's something very important about sitting them down, because what it does is it eliminates movement, at least for half of their body, and it allows all of you to be focused on one another and focused on the lesson.
The curriculum is incredible, so they get to run, and some of these girls are not runners at all. A lot of them walk a lot of the time. They might run a little bit, they walk a lot, but they know even if they're walking, they're exercising and becoming healthy.
Once you learn some tricks and how to keep them focused and quiet them down when you need to talk to them about something serious, then you're good to go. It's really kind of three parts: a warm-up, getting on board, and then the workout. And they're all very easily explained to you, and then you just have to have some materials prepared. But Girls on the Run usually prepares all of those for you in advance, so it's just a matter of pulling them out of the envelope and using them. It's pretty straightforward.
All right, the getting on board is at the very beginning of the lesson, and the goal of the getting on board is to eliminate all the distractions from the day and bring the kids' focus down onto what the activity and the topic will be. The warm-up follows directly after the getting on board, and the warm-up is actually a game or activity that warms up their cardiovascular system. Now, we usually do this in a sneaky way so they don't really know it, because it is a game and it's on the topic, but it does warm up their bodies. And then, of course, following the warm-up is the workout, and the workout can go anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes, again with a game as part of the process, but the kids are actually running consistently for that period of time. The other important piece is the processing, and you never want to forget the processing, because without that, those physical experiences are just that, physical experiences, without any application to their daily lives. Now, as you start delivering the program, you'll notice that the lessons have a nice flow. One leads to the next, and it's critically important that you deliver the lessons in the order that they're written. It's also critically important that you deliver the lessons as they are written. We've done so much research and put so much time and energy into the development of this curriculum, and know without a doubt that what you're delivering is truly transforming these young ladies' thoughts about themselves. So please make sure that you follow the flow and you deliver it as it's written.
There's 24 lessons, which are divided into groups of 8, and the first 8 lessons are all about taking care of yourself. So we learn, or the girls learn, how to take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, just how to take care of you. And then once they figure out that, then the next 8 lessons are all about taking care of your team. So how to be a good member of a team, how to take care of your teammate, how to encourage your teammate when your teammate is struggling or lacking confidence or can't finish that last lap. Once you figure out how to take care of you, you can take care of others. And then this third piece of it, the last 8 lessons, which make up the 24 lessons, is about taking care of your community. So it starts individually, and then breaks into the team, and then you branch out. Now your team is solidified and you're taking good care of each other. Now you can share those gifts and those strengths and that confidence with your community. And so the last piece of Girls on the Run, the last part of the season, involves picking an organization or something in the community that you want to make a difference with. And so you as a team decide, and every year my girls pick something different.
Now, we don't really define ourselves as a running program, but we do run a 5K at the conclusion of the program. So it's very important that you follow the curriculum as it is written so that your girls have enough confidence in themselves to show up at that starting line prepared for the race. I also want you to think about what the power of that race means to these young girls. When they are able to cover that 3.1 miles and set a goal for themselves, that can translate to any area of their life where they can establish a goal, train for it, prepare for it, and then achieve it.
In terms of prep time, to prepare for it, the lessons are laid out very easily, very beautifully. I mean, it's really all, if you can read the printed word and kind of imagine yourself doing these activities with the girls, you can do it. And coaches work together. There's usually a coach and an assistant coach, so you've always got someone to partner with to say, where do you think we should start, or what part of the field should we use? And making those little decisions are easy. I mean, they really are.
And of course, Girls on the Run would not be complete without our trademark Energy Awards. Each of you should know that the Energy Awards were created not by me, but by the original 13 girls in our program that just sort of automatically were so happy and excited with themselves that they created these awards to celebrate their teammates. And so the Energy Award is something you do at the end of the program, at the end of the lesson, where you gather all the girls together and you honor one or two girls that has done something that is very much in keeping with our Girls on the Run spirit. For example, if one of your girls encouraged another girl, you might put her into the middle of the circle, all the girls gather around and give her an Energy Award. Another great way to use the Energy Award is ask your girls who in this group thinks they deserve an Energy Award so that we can get the girls to honor and celebrate their own gifts and contributions. So now I just want to thank you for spending a little bit of time with me and for contributing your time and your energy and your passion to Girls on the Run. I will, before I do this, say that if any one of you show this to either one of my children, they will die. Okay. So let's do the firecracker. The firecracker looks like this. Bang! Shh! You feel the energy? All right, let's see. We have also super girl power, and this is called the Arnold, named after the fabulous Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it goes like this. Super girl power!
Super girl power!
We have the bubble, and the bubble is one of our girls' favorites, and it goes like this. We also have the surfer. The surfer looks like this. Hooray! We also have, of course, superstar, and it looks like this. Superstar! We also have wow, which I encourage all of us to use, both in and out of our homes and program. And then if you have children, it can be this. Wow, Mom. We also have the old standbys, the things like the washing machine. We have the sprinkler like this. We have high five. We have cool. There's a whole plethora of energy awards, but I also encourage you to just invite have your girls create their own.
Chugga-lugga, 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 ding!
Yay!